All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast of the Dark Future, the podcast about Cyberpunk 2020, Red, and anything tabletop gaming. My name is John the Wise, and I'm here with Luke, the Dark Future. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. How's it going, John?
Doing well. Thank you very much, bud. It's been a little while since we talked to each other, right? Or done the podcast, right?
We recorded last Sunday, so it hasn't been, or the Sunday previous to this one, so it hasn't been a week and a half.
It's weird when I don't do, like, even my other podcast, if I don't do it every week, it feels like I've quit or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
A weird feeling.
It's been a kind of a lull this week anyway, or the past couple weeks. Ever since they released that deep dive video, it's been really quiet for everything.
Yeah, for sure. No, it has been. It's not a lot of news. They just released like some cool stuff for Talsorian is what we're talking about. Did you see on their Twitter they released like a kit bash?
Oh yeah, dude. Have you got it yet?
Yeah, I downloaded it. It's like make your own scream sheets. It's really cool.
What I like the most out of it, and this might not be for everybody, but for us, the logos are awesome.
Oh my god, yeah, the logos are awesome. They said use whatever logos you want for whatever you want, just as long as it's in the context of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's cool that they're doing that. They called it a free DLC for the Jumpstart Kit.
Yeah, they've been doing little stuff with like characters, pre-gen characters and stuff. So this was really cool though. This is probably the best thing they've done so far.
Yeah, I like it. I like that kind of stuff, like going in that direction, giving people free stuff. I like making things like that for my game, especially my tabletop game. I don't know if my actual play. I don't know if you've seen that little conspiracy board that I made.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I just love, like, that idea came in my head, and I just want to visually put something out there for it. So I'm definitely going to make a scream sheet for my game using that tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... But other than that, we wanted to talk about how the Jumpstart Kit went Admantine. Yeah. That's how you say it, right?
Admantine? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the top 46 products of all time on DriveThruRPG.
Yeah, it's technically the top 0.04% product, but that doesn't say a whole lot because there's a lot of junk on DriveThruRPG.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, no, I bet there's all kinds of stuff up there, but that's the best part about it. I'm sure we'll put something up there one day.
Yeah, one of these days.
One of these days, something might be there from us. You never know. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. That means that the buzz is real. People want to play the game. They like the Jumpstart Kit. Yeah, I finally started reading the World book. I know it took me so long, but I was like deep in like other books, so now I'm finally putting my attention to the World book, and it has so much information, so much. It's like a board game, you and your buddies can come and play. So I kind of see the appeal for why people want the Jumpstart Kit and why it's so big with all the hype and the game coming out. It makes sense that it went Adam.
Yeah, it was the number one bestseller for a while, and then Shadowrun, which we're going to talk about later, the 6th edition core rulebook came out. For like maybe a few days, it was number one, and then it slipped back into number two, and the Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit went back to its number one, reclaimed its throne. Yeah,
the Jumpstart Kit kind of took the wind out of the Shadowrun 6E sales. Did it, or am I just not in the?
Well, we're going to talk about that later in the topic. But I'm not sure if that was the case or there are some other issues with it. So,
yeah, fair enough. I guess. But other than that, I wanted to talk to you guys about something really cool. It was brought to my attention from the official Talsorian Discord. But one of the guys was boasting about how he had these like collector sets, box sets. I don't know if you saw his post.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, and Jay chimed in.
Yeah, Jay chimed in, the community manager, and he's like, "Oh, you're missing the cassette." And I was like, "What cassette are you talking about?" And apparently in 1994, Talsorian licensed a album to be made called Night City Trax by an artist named Digital. And this guy put together that album in 1994, and it has music that's made for Cyberpunk. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get my hands on this. So it's available on Bandcamp and everything. And I'm going to play a little bit of it for you guys right now as we're talking. Here's one of my favorites. I like this one. Just fast forwarding a little bit. It's totally got that old school vibe. Really ambient music. And then listen to this. This sounds like the start screen of like any video game of Mortal Kombat 1. Here, watch right here. Doesn't it totally sound like the player select screen or something?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Yeah, that first track you played, what it reminded me of is like old VHS, like old 80s VHS tapes when you put them in and their logo popped up in the beginning. Or it's like that do-do-do-do. That's what that first track reminded me of.
Oh my God, yes. I've been looking for like sorry if you guys hear my son screaming in the background. This is literally I'm in dad mode right now. But yeah, I've been looking for a collection of those because I want to use them for my videos because I love that old school mono sound of like Paramount Pictures, you know, and shit like that.
Yeah, Vestron Video and yeah, Canon and all those old companies that used to do like old school like 80s horror releases on VHS.
Yeah, exactly. So then I asked Jay. I was like, "Hey, can I use this for my games and like YouTube and stuff like that?" He's like, "Well, we don't actually own the copyright. You're going to have to talk to, you know, the guy that made the music if you can find him." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll go look for him, you know?" So I went and looked for him and I messaged him. I found like his website. I mean, you know, I dug deep. I found him, got a hold of him, and he's like, "Use it for whatever you want. Tell everybody to use it. Anybody can use it. And it's open to the public." And I just want feedback. So he didn't even ask to be credited. He didn't ask anything like that. But I'm telling people, like, don't be a douchebag, you know, credit him. And yeah, make sure you buy the album because you could listen to every song on Bandcamp without buying it. But, you know, I think people should be supporting him. It's $7 on Bandcamp.
Yeah, there are a lot of synth bands that use Bandcamp. And like you can listen to their whole album and then, you know, you can buy it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought it was so cool that he's like, "Oh yeah, that's me. Yep, I made that in the 90s. I have some new music too. You can use that too." He even offered his new music and he's from his SoundCloud. So he's like, "Yeah, just use whatever the hell you want." I'm excited to use it for my games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. His name is Digital, Digitl.
Yeah.
And
basically,
the album is sorry.
No A. Just
digital without the
digital.
A. Exactly. And the album's called Night City Trax, and Trax is with an X instead of a CK, and that's so 90s, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, he was really cool about it, man. I didn't know how he was going to act and everything, and it's crazy because back in the day, they used to license out so much. You know, we talked about it in like our first few episodes about OGL and licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, they went crazy back in the day. There's so many things out there.
Yeah.
One of the things that we wanted to talk about is this cyberpunk horror supplement it's a series called The Night's Edge, right? Yeah, that's what it's called.
I have a couple of the books I bought off eBay. I think I have 4 of them.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I got like, I know Crash Point, Playground, Bloodlust, Homefront, and then I also have the Necrology Part 2, the And Now I Lay Me Down. Those are the ones I have.
Holy shit. Yeah, you have a substantial amount. There's still like 10 more.
Yeah.
That are all in that universe. So there's like a whole like cyberpunk vampire werewolf universe.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, it's all like horror related things. They're technically like a different like universe or whatever. It's not
alternate universe.
Yeah, alternate universe. But they're pretty cool. The 2 that I really want to get are Grim Cyber Tales, which is like a really kind of I guess it's more of like a generic one that includes like a whole bunch of different things. And then the actual Night's Edge book, which is like basically I think it's pretty much the guidebook to the alternate universe.
Yeah, The Night's Edge is the name of the series, and I believe it is. I don't know if it's the first book, but it's definitely like the one that everybody recognizes, and then there's a bunch of other supplements that go with that universe. Like we were just naming them right now. But The Night's Edge, it's $5 on DriveThruRPG, and I looked online, and Amazon has the book for $128. I was like,
Yeah,
holy shit!
I was eyeing one on eBay for a long time. It was $50, and like,
Ugh,
yeah, I just $50 is a little much to ask for me to put out for it.
exactly.
So
Yeah, it's because it's a rare book. That's why, not a lot of is out there in print, and I don't even know if Talsorian is ever going to print them again because it was published by DreamPod 9 or something like
I
that.
think it was the INS Games that did all the stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah,
I'm ignorant on that. Maybe
yeah.
you know better.
They did a whole bunch of other stuff for them too, but yeah, I don't know if they published it. They definitely wrote them.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was cool, and I definitely want to run it. I'm gonna run it. I think I'm gonna do it for Halloween with my buddies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little like one shot. I definitely want to read The Night's Edge, and then there's some other books here. I wonder if there's like other classes like mummies or the boogeyman. I'm looking here. It says it has cults.
There is one that says vampire hunters, so maybe vampire hunter is a class. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's actually already in Night's Edge. They have vampire hunters. They have a whole new stat called Psi for like psychic stuff and, stuff like that. And I believe there's like a psychosis meter that messes with your empathy and your humanity. It's like all mixed in.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you read the book at all?
No, I haven't. I've flipped through them, but
Okay.
it's one of those things where I have so many books that I can only read one thing at a time.
I know, dude. Trust me. I'm in the same book. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely want to. I figured I'd read it whenever I'm gonna write. I'm gonna get ready to prepare the game, and right now it's like number 2 in the list of games that I'm gonna do. So I've been holding off on reading it and like absorbing it, but I did ask in the Cyberpunk 2020 Facebook group if anybody's ever run the game, and the consensus was that it was fun at first, but then it kind of people lost interest because it doesn't really make sense with the setting that well. You know what I mean?
With the cyberpunk setting, or
Yeah, they said that the consensus was like some of them didn't even say that. They just said, "Yeah, we played it a little bit and people lost interest." I saw that a lot. It was a very common response. So I'm thinking maybe because it feels a little bit tacked on instead of like World of Darkness that does Vampire the Masquerade, like they are making the vampire RPG,
Yeah, yeah.
And then this one is like, "Oh yeah, what if you put vampires in it?" So it's kind of like it's not as in depth, you know what I mean? Maybe I haven't read the book, so I don't know, but I just think maybe people get fatigued with that subject matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, isn't there a gang that's kind of like they're not real vampires, but they have like the vampire cyberware?
Yeah, there's I believe they just have the teeth, and then maybe I think they might even have like a filtration thing that transfers blood into sustenance for them. Or did my friend make that up? I'm not sure. You never know what.
there is like I know there is kind of a gang that's kind of like vampires. They have like the cyberware to like make the fangs or whatever. I just don't remember what they're called.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the fangs too.
Yeah,
there was a name for it too. Chompers, some shit like that. But yeah, man, there's a lot of those. And there's some other supplements too. There's other alternate reality books. And I'm kind of excited to take a look at this. We're almost at Halloween, so we'll get to it. But for now,
we'll be talking probably more horror related stuff in probably the next episode or episode after that, coming up, leading up to Halloween.
Yeah, and it's funny because I brought this to the table, but Luke is our resident horror guy.
Yeah.
That's like your first love, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, dude, I've been watching horror movies since I was like 6 or 7 years old, man.
Yeah, that's funny, man. I figured you'd probably already had the books, like some of these books, because you're like, oh my god, Cyberpunk horror. I'm all about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was already doing my own stuff, and then I found out they had these books on Discord or something, and I was like, oh, they've got, they've already got a Ready World,
Yeah,
ready-made thing for it. I'm like, sweet.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, other than the horror supplements that are out there, let's talk about the Red Core Rulebook, Cyberpunk Red Core Rulebook release date predictions. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and that's why I wanted to talk about this, about when I think they're going to release it, because they've been pretty tight-lipped. They haven't said anything about it, but I have it down to the week when I think they're going to release it.
Oh wow,
And
really?
I think it's going to
I'm
be the first week of February, because one, it's 6 months after the Jumpstart Kit came out. Two, it's around about 2 months before Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, and it's far enough removed from the holidays that there won't be anything going on with Artel Sorian, like because it's kind of a family company, so past the holidays. That's my guess.
Oh, it makes sense. They can kind of take the holidays off and then bust their ass in January and release it in February.
Yep.
Yeah, who knows? And of course, it's going to be 2020 next year, so it makes sense. I mean, to not release it on 2020 is kind of weird,
Yeah, well, they're obviously going to release it before the 2077 comes out. I think that's obvious. And I think if they were going to release it sometime this year, they would have already announced it.
Now, how much do you think the retail value would be of a Cyberpunk 2020 collector's edition, including the Red Core rulebook, like bundle?
If it's a bundle?
Yeah, it's like a collector's edition 2020 core rulebook and the new red rulebook all put together.
Well, it depends how fancy they get with the 2020 special edition. Like if they do like leather bound and all this crazy shit. But if they just do like, I'm going to say standard, but I don't mean standard, but kind of how far I think they're going to go with the 2020 collector's book, I'd say MSRP $99.99.
Yeah, that I would hope so. I would hope it's around that price. It has to be under 200 to be accessible.
Like I said, it depends how hard in the paint they go with the 2020 collector's book,
Yeah, and I don't mind if they go real hard too, because it's gonna be awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope they do. Like if they did like a leather bound, like with like both the original artwork and the new artwork, and then they did like notes in the columns from Mike Pondsmith about like different rules and what he was thinking about when he did it, and then like do like a like the bookmark things they have. I don't remember what they call those things.
Yeah, the tabs.
Not tabs, like the little thing that comes out of the top of a book and you put it down. I don't remember what they call those things. It's like a string that comes out of the top, but it's like a...
Oh, yeah. Dude, the Carbon 2185 book had that, and I almost like creamed myself, and wife was like, dude, relax. I was like, oh my god, it has a bookmark.
Yeah, like, if they went to the extreme like that, and they had it like the cover is like inlaid, and it's got, kind of gold on it, and maybe like gold pages, on the side and stuff.
My beating heart, dude.
I don't think they're gonna do that, but that would be like the dream with what they would do with it. I think it will be hardcover, and
yeah, it has to be hardcover minimum, right?
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna do different art for the cover, because it's a possibility. I kind of hope they don't, but
yeah, once I got that Carbon 2185 book and it was hardcover, I was like, oh shit, now all my core rule books have to be hardcover. I have to get it.
Yeah. Well, they fit so much nicer on your shelves too, because they actually stand up. Like if you have a soft covers are good for the table, but like if you're gonna like collect them and put them on a shelf, hardcover is where you gotta go.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's just the feeling of it too is really good. I like that. So February, first or second week of February, that does sound about right. You're right. I for sure it's going to come out before 2077, and you are right about Talsorian being a family company and all that. It makes sense to me.
So you're not going to oppose my prediction? You don't have
No,
a separate. Is that what you think too?
the logic is too sound.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know where to begin my prediction because it's kind of up in the air. They have told us like maybe, and then they said it was going to release, and then they're like, we're going to do the Jumpstart Kit first, which was all like good, all but it just means that they never really have anything for sure until they have it for sure,
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
They're also gonna have to print a shit ton of them. Like looking at the way that the Jumpstart Kit has sold, that's the other thing. The Jumpstart Kit physical isn't even available yet.
I know, and they said maybe October, so that's why I'm not even holding my breath on the core rulebook.
Yeah, that's why I definitely don't think it'll be this year. It's got to be next year, and I'm saying if not February, March.
It has to come out before 2077. If it comes out after, it'll be a huge mistake.
Yeah. Well, because the other thing, this is the other part I was going to add on to it. The way they're going to market it is that this is what bridges the gap to 2077. Because that's kind of what they did with the Jumpstart Kit. And so they're going to appeal heavily to the people who are going to play 2077. Because they already know, know people like me and you are going to buy it. Like, they don't need to market it to us.
Yeah, it could come out December next year and I'll still get it, Doesn't matter. But yeah, for the casuals that are like maybe D&D players and are like, hey, before we play 2077, let's read this core rule book and get into this game. And then there's a bunch of people that have told their friends about the game, But I know a lot of people have been holding out for this core rule book. They're definitely gonna get.
Yeah, it'll be another Admantine bestseller on DriveThruRPG, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. Well, anything else about the core rule?
No, I think that's it. I think we both agree that it will definitely be February or March. And it'll definitely be before Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, I think that's their goal. Now, whether they'll realize that goal is yet to be determined, I hope that they can because it would be very important for them.
They'll do it. The book is done.
Oh yeah, that's right. We had come to that conclusion that the book is done. I totally forgot.
Done. I mean, Mike has told me the book is done. Like, it's all ready to go. They just gotta, like I said, they've got to print a metric fuck ton of those books because they've already having trouble with the Jumpstart Kit. So
yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe they just didn't anticipate the demand, but he did say they were working on it way before CD Projekt Red even talked to them.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for it to be already done by now. All right. Well, do you want to talk about some actual plays?
Yeah. Since you're kind of the pro at the actual plays, do you have, I guess, why do you do your actual plays?
Well, why I actually do actual plays is mostly because I want to have it recorded because it's fun to like actually listen to it later. I like actual plays. Like I personally like actual plays a lot. It's one of my favorite things. So it's kind of like, oh, I want to do one, and it's fun to do it with your friends and listen back to it later and have it there as kind of like a memory. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that it's like the peak it's like peak performance when it comes to playing the game because you have to like take into consideration a lot of things. Number one, it has to be entertaining. If it's way different than me and my buddies hanging out in my living room playing, drinking some beers. This is like, hey, people are watching these videos. We got to entertain people. It's a little bit different. So people are really tuned in,
See, I think you do it for all the reasons I don't do it. Everything that you said, I'm like the opposite of. I don't like actual plays. I don't know. Maybe it's like how I know a lot of the groups that do actual plays or live plays, whatever you want to call it. A lot of them have like professional actors in them, people who are like, trained, I guess, actors. I mean, I'm sure not all of them are actually trained, but they say they're actors. And I don't like watching them. And like you said, it's different than just, you have to be entertaining to not only your group but also to people who are going to watch, which in my opinion would take away a little bit from the game, at least for me, because you're worried about other people rather than just worrying about the players having a good time. And you could do both, but it's a lot to balance when all you want to do is run a fun game. And the other reason is like a lot of the games that I run would be maybe not stream safe.
I get it.
Like themes and things that I would do would probably be not everybody would enjoy or whatever, So, I mean, with we're not going to get into this, but with the Monty Cook consent form that came out, like, would I have to have people fill those out before they watch my stream?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
You would have to.
Yeah.
That thing would come at you filled out to the brim,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, so, like I said, pretty much every reason that you said, I'm like the opposite of.
Yeah, I totally get it, and you're right. Dude, there's so many bad actual plays, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to challenge myself and see if, like, there's people that sit on the couch and criticize, but they never do anything. I didn't want to be the one that criticizes and doesn't actually do it. So I was like, okay, I can do it better, and I want to do it better. And I emulate the actual plays that I watch that do it really well. They have like decent mics, they have webcams, the story is well written, and the GM is pretty experienced. Those are the ones that do well and have entertaining players, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Honestly, it's a lot of pressure on your players too. You can't just be like, hey, grab 4 dudes off the internet and be like, all right, hey, you guys are my players, we're gonna record it and expect it to be entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say, is that I think for some people it'd be, especially if they watch other, like the ones I was talking about where they have people that are like actors or voice actors, a lot of times it's a lot of pressure on even players to kind of be funny, or they try to be funny, rather than just kind of going with the flow of the game. They try to do something that they think is funny. It's kind of like when you're in class and you try to say something funny when they're in front of the teacher. It's kind of like that, at least to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like, I mean, my group, it's perfect. We all pretty much know each other because we've been friends through like Twitch and streaming and stuff like that. And 3 of the players, they're streamers themselves, experienced streamers. They've been doing it for like over 2-3 years. And the 4th guy is a friend of all those guys. So it's like, we're all friends, we all know each other, we have a shorthand, we're comfortable with each other, and we don't need to sign any consent form because we know each other's humor and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are always the best groups.
So we might not be voice actors or actors, but we do have that buddy thing where we all know each other and we're like, able to do whatever we can with each other.
Yeah. I'd like to see you get Czar on that game sometime. I'm playing a game sometime.
I know, man. He's never that's my co-host for my other podcast, for those of you that don't know. He plays D&D, but he's never asked, like, can I be in your game? And he's a mysterious guy, dude. I'm telling you, I know very little about him.
You've been doing that point click podcast with him for how long?
Dude, I've known him for like 3 years. So I've been doing the podcast with him for 2 years, and I've been a friend with him. He was like, we were on like an amateur team for like a video game for Heroes of the Storm. So we know each other. Like we've been friends even before the podcast. But I don't know anything about his personal life. He's very like tight-lipped about his personal life, which I respect, to be honest with you.
I don't blame him,
Yeah, I respect that. Like, we don't have to like spill each other's heart out to each other and know all of our personal stuff. And actually, we're better friends that way,
Yeah.
So yeah, when people ask me about him, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't fucking know.
He just seems he'd be really good, like on the spot and stuff, and he's pretty funny too. So I think he'd make a pretty good player, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I do have a bunch of friends that are really good at that, like, they're good at it. They would be good at the game, and those are all people that I met through Twitch and stuff like that. So it's hard to find random people and decide to do an actual play. I've seen those where like you could tell that they don't, none of these people know each other, and they just started playing and they recorded it. They put it on YouTube. The audio's shitty. Like one guy's audio's like terrible compared to the other guys.
Well, that's what happens when you get a big group of people together. Not everybody's going to have a decent mic. Not everybody's going to have decent webcam or whatever.
Yeah, and most people, they just want to play, they don't want and it's like, this is the best I can get and I'm just going to enjoy it. And I'm not saying that those people shouldn't even publish their actual plays. I think they should, but just don't expect it to, blow up on levels that you want it to blow up without doing the work before,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing. Like, it's there forever. That's the idea of it. It's like, it's going to be sitting there. My actual plays, people, like new people see it every day.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that I have it on a level that's acceptable to me.
Yeah. It's the internet, dude. Nothing goes away forever.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Somebody somewhere has your actual plays downloaded on their computer. You're going to delete them one day. Somebody's going to be like, boom, upload right on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the actual plays that I was watching, because I wanted to, next episode we'll talk about rifts, because that's one of those. Have you heard of that, RP?
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, in the first episode where you went on Craigslist and
Yep, exactly.
And then you got pink eye. Yeah, we
got pink eye. That's right.
Yep,
mm-hmm.
We've heard that story.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I want to learn about it, and I found an actual play, and the GM made one of the biggest mistakes, and I'm going to make a whole video on this kind of thing, but he made one of the biggest mistakes that you can ever make when you're playing with random people that don't know each other. Is he asked each player, like they're all in a tavern, this is their first session, and he said, what are you doing? He asked the players, what are you doing? And oh my God, dude, that's the biggest mistake, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know each other. And all they do is fall back on their character. And what is their character? A loner badass that doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm in the corner over here, smoking a cigarette. And then the other guy's like, well, I'm at the bar having a whiskey shot. It's like, okay, you guys aren't even together. No one's together.
I just watched a really funny video by Seth Skarkowski. I don't know how you say his last name, but he does videos about like trouble players or trouble GMs, and he did a video about like the lone wolf, and it's really funny. He's like, he plays like a kind of like a gothic character, and he's like, I'm hiding in the shadows with my hood. You can't see me. I'm like the blackness. It's so funny.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
It's
dude.
so funny.
Finally, somebody encapsulated everything that I hate about that. See, the thing is, like, I'm not against you making that character, but it's going to be problematic when everybody's like, I'm only working with you because it benefits me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, why are you watching each other's backs? Like, you have to have some kind of camaraderie. So I always start my sessions with like, you guys all know each other, and you're all in the middle of an activity together. You're not at the bar drinking and that guy's smoking. No, you're like playing poker. You're all playing poker.
Yeah, well, you also got to work with them to give them a background that makes them all tie in to one another.
Yeah, it's a big thing to do. That's a big deal too. It's like, you can have them all be like mercenaries that are just like working together this one time, and then now they're bonding. That's a common thing. But I usually like to have them all know each other for years. They don't have to be best friends. They at least know each other. They know that they can trust that other person, and that's it. You'll never do an actual play, is what you're saying.
It's not likely. I mean, I would probably do one as a player, but not as a GM. It's probably not likely. Maybe.
That bums me out, because I would really like to see, because I love actual plays, and I would love to see one of your horror actual plays.
Yeah. I mean, I would say never, but I don't know.
Okay. I respect your opinion and your decision, my dude. All right. So, what's next on the docket here?
Shadowrun 6th Edition.
Oof.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of bad things. Like, people are really upset.
It's been like, I think the only way you could describe the release is rocky. Like, the Jumpstart Kit came out for that. It's not, I don't know what they call it, beginner box, I think is what they call theirs. And a lot of people were like, there's a lot of spelling errors, there's a lot of problems here, like, let's see what they come out with. And then the release happened at Gen Con, and one of the first problems that happened when they sold it at Gen Con was that they had these codes for the PDF, and they weren't working. Like, people brought it home, and it wouldn't work. So I think that finally got ironed out, but a lot of people were like, hey, I can't get my copy. Like, don't make me sail the high seas to get the PDF copy I'm supposed to get, So the game came out, and a lot of, like, if you look at the reviews on DriveThruRPG, there isn't very many positive reviews for the game. There's a lot
I'm going to load those up while you're talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues that people are having with old rules being copied over, and they hired a lot of freelance people to write for the book, and a lot of the complaints are that it feels like it's not really joined together. There are just a lot of weird parts that are here and there, and that there are parts where they don't even talk about certain rules. And the reason I wanted to talk about it on this podcast is because about a week ago, this ties into what we were just talking about. There's an actual play group called Roll For It, and they just released like an hour and a half video talking about why they're not going to run the game anymore. And basically the reason they're not running the game anymore is that they felt like they'd have to homebrew too much. And
oh, no way.
They didn't want to give, this is the bad part, they didn't want to give the impression to the viewers that the game was good the way they ran it. And so they didn't want to advertise for the game, to sell copies of the game because they didn't think it was any good.
So they didn't want to run their homebrewed game of 6th edition Shadowrun because then people would think that, it's a decent game that has good mechanics.
Yeah. And they didn't want to do 5th edition because they said it had some of the same problems. And actually what they're thinking about getting into Cyberpunk Red. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, I mean, hey, dude, you lose a customer and there's Cyberpunk Red around the corner, dude.
Yeah, and what I was hinting at earlier when we were talking is that some of the people, even on Roll For It, think that the reason that they pushed out Shadowrun 6th Edition is because they were trying to hop on the Cyberpunk hype train.
They wanted to get it out there before, because, there was Carbon 2185. They made, I believe their Kickstarter ended at like £150,000, which, British money.
Yeah.
And that's all because of that Cyberpunk hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they think that they probably pushed it out sooner to get it, like we were saying, to jump on the hype train.
Yeah, I mean, is that screenshot that's in our document, is that from the book?
Yes. Yeah, here, I'll read it for everybody. This is really fun. This is actually in the book, exactly how I'm going to read it. Then there are spirits that adopt metahuman appearances and demeanors because argle bargle, foofara, hey diddy ho diddy, no one knows.
Oh no, they're not even trying to hide the laziness.
And there's so many memes about this, like when you don't reach the word count in your homework in your paper. There's all kinds of, and even like when they did that video, when Roll For It did the video, they were trying to avoid saying this, but one guy just kept repeating it. The argle bargle, argle bargle.
Oh no, they got memed out of it. Yeah. So okay, give me like bullet points on why 6th edition sucks.
Well, one of the things that because they had to, there's that in that video, like I said, they go on for an hour and a half about things they don't like, and one of them is that like basically strength is a worthless stat, like because obviously if you're doing ranged it doesn't matter, but when you're doing like melee damage, it's a flat number. Like,
yeah, you don't roll for melee damage.
Oh, you do roll, but it's like say I have a mace and it does 1d6 damage. If a giant orc with augmentations out the ass to make his strength like whatever the high number is in Shadowrun, like it's the same as like an elf with 1 strength. It's 1d6.
Oh no,
that's it.
Oh no,
it's a flat number.
So there's no like modifier
Yeah,
or
there's
anything.
no strength modifier at all, and they
What? Why
yeah,
would they do that?
because I think what they said in their video was that they took a bunch of rules that like and kind of copy and pasted them, and they must have like gone through and like deleted some of the stuff that was important because they were trying to trim the book down to make it more streamlined, and they just didn't notice that they deleted that thing. I don't know. There's a bunch of different theories
What?
about why. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I guess the one of the design principles of Sixth Edition was to make it more streamlined, but still have the crunch that people like about Shadowrun, and so they were just removing things without even really thinking about it.
Oh my god, dude. What? What happened?
I, I don't. Like we said, they apparently they have a really poor editor, and
Oh.
the company itself, Game Catalyst Labs, has had a lot of problems recently with, I guess, like their owner was like embezzling funds, supposedly.
Oh
Like,
no.
yeah, I guess it was kind of like a small company, and he was like mixing his funds with the company funds or something like that, and like they were missing like $200,000, and like it's a whole mess. And then they weren't paying freelancers because they were missing all that money. So freelancers started to leave, or maybe it was freelancers. They weren't paying freelancers that were writing the book. There was a whole bunch of issues happening at Game Catalyst Labs.
Wow, dude, that's insane. Yeah, I'm looking at these reviews, and it's cool because DriveThruRPG tells you if someone purchased the book, then leaves a review, rather than someone who didn't purchase the book and has a review, which is weird. It's like, how do you know that it's a shitty book if you haven't bought it? You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like Amazon. Amazon has like those verified purchasers or whatever on it.
Oh, that's what that is. A purchaser is just any. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just like a verified thing.
Well, it means they purchased the product.
Okay, okay. Because there's like this one guy that's like, wow, broken beyond belief, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say purchaser under his name. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Like people like to jump on the hate train.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the reviews. Everyone's like, it's just bad, and the consensus is it's horribly edited,
Mm-hmm.
and there's things that are contradictory and inconsistent, which you don't want in a core fucking rule book. Dude.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, the nail in the coffin is a lot of people are saying Roll For It had to stop featuring it on their YouTube channel. That's how bad it.
Yeah.
Oof, that's not good, man. That sucks.
Well,
Honestly, I never liked Shadowrun. I don't know about.
I liked it. I never like actually played it. I always liked kind of the universe that it was in, because I kind of come from D&D. So for me, it was cool. The cyberpunk stuff was cool. And
Yeah, see, for me, it's like I like D&D and I like Cyberpunk, and I don't think that like the way they did it, putting it together, didn't it just I couldn't take it seriously. Like orcs with cyberware, and mystical like horse-looking people, tauren-looking people, and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It just didn't sit with me well, you know?
yeah, and the dragons that come back and all that. It's
Yeah,
the magic is reawakened or awakened, in the world, and that's what creates all the orcs and elves and the dragons coming back and stuff like that.
yeah, which kind of that story is actually in Rifts. The way that Rifts works was there was like a giant nuclear explosion from war, and that nuclear explosion was like a catalyst that opened up a rift into a world of magic, and magic came to our world and opened up portals to all these other worlds, and that's why you can play as a ninja turtle and your party member is a fucking death knight. And but anyway, we're not talking about rifts. It's just it just tied in a little bit right there.
I've always liked the video games. I don't know if you played the computer games. Have you ever played the Shadowrun games?
No, that's how I learned about Shadowrun. So I had the game on PC. I played it. It was kind of fun, but like I said, I grew up. Cyberpunk was my first RPG, so I was already super biased when I played it, and it was hard for me to like let go of that. Cyberpunk to me is the dark future. It's the grimness. It's the real reality. It's the realism. No rat enemies. No magic. None of that shit. You know?
Yeah. When I was like in the mid '90s or so, when I used to play like Magic the Gathering, I played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I was like, that's when I found Cyberpunk because I found Netrunner, the card game,
Yep.
And so I was buying a whole bunch of weird card games at the time, like the Vampire the Masquerade one and a whole bunch of them. And one of them that I bought was there was a Shadowrun card game that I bought.
Oh.
And I think that was also the first time I encountered Shadowrun.
Ah, interesting. So through a card game. Damn, dude, that's hilarious.
I know, yeah. So I found both of them through a card game, Cyberpunk and Shadowrun.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not like I hate D&D because, well, I was brainwashed in the beginning by my buddy to hate D&D.
Yeah.
He's like, it's for pussies. We talked about it.
Yeah.
But I actually love D&D, especially 5th edition. I really love it. I've ran a campaign, 3 campaigns actually, in 5th edition. So, having a cyberpunk world, it uses the D&D system, right?
What?
Shadowrun.
Oh, no, Shadowrun's way more complicated.
Oh, really? I thought it was the OGL, using the OGL of D&D.
Shadowrun's insane, dude.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it uses,
So it has its own crunch.
Yeah. That's what people like about it, is the crunch. That's what I don't like. I like games that are more simple, even though Cyberpunk isn't super simple, but...
It isn't, but at least it gives you the tools on how to simplify it, the homebrew rules and stuff that you can do. The thing about Cyberpunk 2020 is what I always loved about it is how they encourage you to homebrew. They give you ideas on how you can write gangs, make corporations, your settings and stuff like that. They give you all the tools you need to play it if you're not as creative. But if you are creative, they encourage it.
Yeah, and then with Cyberpunk Red, like we've talked about, they're going to do easy ways and hard ways, so that's going to be cool too, to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Do you know anything about, sorry to digress a little bit, do you know anything about the Triforce engine or Tri engine?
I know the Triforce from Zelda, but I don't know anything about the Triforce engine. What is that?
It's okay. I backed this other Kickstarter for that game, that Carbine Jungle game, and it says it has a Tri engine, which is 3 separate rule sets, one easier, and then it goes up to like the most complicated, and that's in the book. So I wonder if like Cyberpunk Red is going to kind of have that same kind of thing,
Yeah, only it would be like a buy engine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, that Carbine Jungle game it looks insane. I can't wait for it. It looks like Rifts. That's why I like it.
Going back to your Rifts roots with that one.
Yeah, and I just honestly I realized that I want to run as many games as I can. I'm gonna this group that I have right now that we do actual plays with. I feel like we do a pretty good job, so I want to run some cool, fun games, with those guys.
Yeah, some different ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Rest in peace, Shadowrun. You had a good run, 6 editions.
Yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go from this. Like, there's almost too much there to fix, So like, if they, somebody's gonna get the Shadowrun property. So whenever a 7th edition is made, like, I would suggest they just scrap everything and like use their like their system, but rewrite all of it.
Yeah, something has to be done. It has 2.5 stars on DriveThruRPG. That's pretty bad, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows? That sucks because people really love Shadowrun too. I remember that I would see people playing it all the time. It was their go-to. But it is what it is. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we hit all the topics we were going to talk about this week.
Hell yeah, man. It's always good to talk with you and have this podcast, man. It's so fun. I can seriously talk about Cyberpunk like for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, like we were saying, like there wasn't much news, but we found a lot to talk about. So
yeah, always, dude. There's so many supplements. Maybe next week we can talk about those interface supplements. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, the magazine that came out that was early. It was like early 90s, I think, is when that came out.
Yeah, people from the Discord are saying that's the best supplements for Cyberpunk. There's a lot of people that said that, so I really want to check them out after. So yeah, there's always something to talk about with Cyberpunk. What you doing anything coming up that you want people to know?
Well, like we were saying, there hasn't been much, so I haven't been doing a whole lot on my channel lately. But I plan on doing, this is non-cyberpunk related, but I will be doing kind of a 31 reviews in Halloween. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and get as many reviews done as I can.
Hell yeah.
That'll be on my other channel, Luke the Goon. I'll link that in the description. But other
Cool.
than that, I don't. In terms of Cyberpunk, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. We're kind of just waiting for something to happen, to be honest. I've been planning to do the life path video for a while. Hopefully, I eventually get that one done and out. But that's it for me so far.
Yeah, I plan on doing a life path video in the future too. I have so many ideas. I just, I need to get back on it. I've been preparing for these actual plays, and I think it's time that I start doing videos. The next one will definitely be on the Nomad role. I'm going to cover that role. I just got Neo Tribes. It's coming in the mail. So I'm going to read the shit out of that book and get as many ideas as I can. I already got some good ideas from people.
Yeah, I've been
But
looking at the books and figuring out what books I want to buy next.
I know, dude. There's so many. It's what's so cool. And you know what? They're not that expensive because they're so like some of them are expensive because they're rare, but there's a lot of them are.
Yeah, the ones that Art Telsarian sell are like the most you're going to pay is like $25. Like a lot of them are way cheaper than that.
Yeah, I got Neo Tribes and Home of the Brave for $25.
Yeah.
It's coming in the mail, so
yeah.
it's
See,
awesome.
I liked Home of the Brave so much that I want to get the Guide to the UK. I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, and I want to get the Pacific Rim book.
Yeah, that's next. I mean, Euro Tour. I'm gonna get that one as.
Yeah, I have Euro Tour. I saw that and I was like, dude, that looks so cool.
Hell yeah! So yeah, we'll talk about them as as the time comes, and make sure you guys join our fan made Discord for Cyberpunk. There's a lot of cool discussions in there. There's GM discussions where people like ask questions for running your game. There's role playing. There's ways to find a group. All kinds of cool stuff. So make sure you guys join that. The description will have the link. And other than that, make sure you subscribe to both of our channels, John the Wise, The Dark Future, and subscribe to Luke the Goon as well. It's for some cool horror.
If you like horror movies and things like that, subscribe to me over there. I'll be doing probably a lot more over there since I'm kind of getting in the swing of things, especially with October coming up.
All right, sounds good. Other than that, we'll see you guys
in the dark future.
Oh, yeah. Later.